In 1998, a young Japanese office worker named Hideo Nakamura checked into a small hotel in Kushiro, a quiet, snowy city in northern Japan. He had just finished a business trip and needed a place to crash for the night before catching the train home. The hotel was old, cheap, and mostly empty, the kind of place that felt like it hadn't changed since the 70s. Hideo was given room 313. The hallway to his room was unusually cold, even for winter. He didn't think much of it. He tossed his bag on the bed, called his girlfriend to say goodnight, then tried to get some sleep. Sometime after 2 a.m., the phone rang. He picked it up, but there was no voice on the other end, just faint static. After a few seconds, the line went dead. He hung up, rolled over, and closed his eyes. Then he heard breathing, not his own, slow, steady, and close, like someone was standing just beside the bed. He sat up quickly and looked around. The room was empty, no sound, no movement. But then he noticed something strange in the mirror across the room. 2 small red dots floating in the dark. He squinted. The dots blinked. They were eyes, watching him, not reflected from anything in the room. They were just there. He turned to look behind him. Nothing. Looked back at the mirror. The red eyes were still there, closer now. Then he heard a whisper, right next to his ear, a voice that didn't belong to anyone alive. "Why are you in my room?" Hideo jumped out of bed and ran. He didn't stop to grab his shoes or his bag. He didn't even close the door. He ran down to the front desk, barefoot and shaking. The night clerk just stared at him like this wasn't the first time it had happened. Hideo checked out immediately. He told his boss the next day that he had food poisoning and never mentioned the hotel again. The hotel shut down the following year. People said it was because of financial problems, but local rumors told a different story. Room 313 had too many reports. Guests said mirrors would fog up with handprints even when no one touched them. Some claimed they heard crying from inside the walls. One woman said a child crawled out from under her bed and disappeared through the door without ever opening it. To this day, the building is still abandoned. The windows are broken, the sign is gone. But sometimes, people walking by late at night say they see a red glow coming from the 3rd floor, like someone's still waiting in room 313.
Thousands of kilometers away, deep in the heart of Romania, there's a forest that locals refuse to enter after dark, Hoia Baciu Forest. Some call it the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, but people around Cluj-Napoca have a simpler name for it, the forest that hates you. Back in 2004, a university student named Cristina Iliescu went there with 3 friends. They were filming a documentary for class, trying to capture local ghost stories. Cristina had heard rumors, people vanishing, electronics dying, disembodied voices, even sightings of strange figures that didn't walk, but hovered just above the ground. She didn't believe any of it. On their second night of filming, they set up camp near the center of the forest, a strange, perfectly circular clearing where nothing grows. No trees, no bushes, not even grass, just dead earth. That night, everything went wrong. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the same time the phone rang for Hideo in Japan, Cristina woke up, gasping. She said she felt someone pressing down on her chest, but when she opened her eyes, there was no one there. The others were still asleep. She grabbed the camcorder beside her and started recording, not for the film anymore, but out of fear. In the footage recovered later, you can hear her breathing heavily, whispering to herself. Then she gasps again and points the camera toward the trees. two faint red lights floating in the dark. Not reflections, not flashlights, just red eyes, watching. Suddenly, the camcorder glitches, the screen distorts, and the audio fills with static and whispers. Over it all, a soft voice. "Why are you in my forest?" Christina ran, alone. Her friends found her the next morning near the edge of the woods, barefoot and bleeding from her hands, like she'd been crawling for hours. She didn't speak for 3 days. When she finally did, she said only one thing. "It followed me home." They all dropped out of the project after that. The footage went missing from the school archives. Some people say Christina left the country. Others claim they've seen her wandering near the forest at night, whispering in languages no one understands. And the strangest part, the last frame of the corrupted camcorder footage, which someone anonymously posted online years later, shows the clearing, completely empty. But in the far background, just barely visible between the trees, a hotel hallway and a door marked 313.
In 2011, in a remote village near Pucón, Chile, an old man named Ernesto Vargas lived alone in a wooden cabin at the edge of the forest. People in the village called him Don Ernesto, a quiet man, always polite, but distant. He'd been a school teacher once, until his wife vanished without a trace in 1986. After that, he quit his job, moved out of town, and hardly spoke to anyone. But some nights, people walking by his house would see something strange through the window, a red glow, like eyes. One night, a group of teenagers, bored and drunk, dared each other to knock on Don Ernesto's door. It was just past 2 a.m. when they reached the cabin. One of them knocked. No answer. Then, one kid peeked through the dusty window. What he saw made him fall backwards in shock. Inside, Ernesto was standing perfectly still in the middle of the room. In front of him was a large, cracked mirror leaning against the wall. But his reflection wasn't matching his pose. The reflection was smiling. The boy ran, screaming. The others followed. The next morning, the village was buzzing. A few brave adults went up to check on Ernesto. They found the front door unlocked, but the cabin was empty. No sign of a struggle, no blood, just an icy chill in the air. And the mirror, still there, still cracked. But when someone finally looked into it, they saw something impossible. A hotel hallway, dimly lit. And a door. Room 313. The mirror was taken down and locked away in the town church, sealed behind heavy cloth and chains. But people say if you look at it too long, your reflection starts to move on its own. One woman claimed she saw herself blink even though she hadn't. Another said her reflection mouthed words she didn't say. And every now and then, especially around 2:13 a.m., villagers say they hear soft knocking coming from inside the church. 3 slow knocks. Like someone wants out. And if you get close enough, sometimes you can hear the voice. Soft. Dry. Right against the glass. Why are you still watching?